Several arrests have already been made in connection with the fatal crash on the A66. More people have now been arrested on suspicion of having links with organised crime.
Well, what we need to think is more long-term than reactive. Why are we losing some of these young people in some of our deprived areas? Why are we losing their hearts and minds to crime before their lives even began? Why are they criminalising themselves before they're adults, making them unemployable? And that's the bigger question that everybody involved have got to ask ourselves, and what we can do moving forward in the future to stop this and stop it being a cultural thing for the next generation.
The community here are worried, not just for themselves, but for the more vulnerable members of society, some of whom say they're too scared to even leave their own homes. Do you think everyone feels safe?
No. Really is horrible what society have brought up.
I've just noticed that there's been a lot more like crime and like in more of the deprived areas like Grangetown and a lot of in South Bank areas where like things have just gone on like unpunished really. Like a lot of people just don't feel safe.
Do you think people are feeling scared a bit at the moment?
Probably a lot of people will be, because especially like I said, what's been happening lately.
There's no doubt tensions have been growing here on Teesside over the past week following the incident on the A66 in which 7 people lost their lives, including 2 police officers. There are properties in parts of town which are boarded up after vehicles, on one occasion a tractor, were used to ram into people's properties, thought to be a form of intimidation. A fatal house fire in which a 7-year-old girl and her 34-year-old auntie were killed. There were cars set alight at what was thought to be part of a vigil for one of the victims of the crash near Durham, and 200 extra police officers have been drafted in from 6 forces to help Cleveland police cope with the ongoing unrest.
And we know we've got huge challenges here in the Cleveland and the Tees Valley area on crime and disorder. We're at the wrong end of every table, and despite the best efforts of Cleveland police, who've been battling away for many, many years to deal with this, we have these huge challenges of high crime, violence, drugs, unfortunately, mental health challenges, unemployment, child poverty, all the things that are, unfortunately, we see as drivers behind this challenge. And when we asked people what they wanted that spent on, crime and safety was the biggest issue.
For people across the country, this week's events have shone a spotlight on the levels of crime here on Teesside. For the people who live here in an area of high deprivation and one which has suffered serious police funding cuts in recent years, living with that crime is part of their day-to-day lives. And as the police here prepare for more potential unrest in the coming days, they do so while still mourning the deaths of 2 of their own.